is this vigrah, how spellbinding, how mesmerizing, how divine. देवत्व भी है और बालत्व भी है। रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीता राम सुंदर विग्रह। Just as this vigraha looks, Megha Shyam. That's how Ram Lala was. Megha Shyam. वो जो काले बादल जब घिर आते हैं, सुंदर विग्रह मेघा श्याम गंगा तुलसी शालिग्राम, and that's the prayer that is happening right now. The gargrah of the Divya Bhavya Ram temple at Ayodhya. Sri Ram with his golden dhanush and golden arrow, the bard. Sri Ram decked up in his finest royal mukut and jewelry. A prayer that has been answered after over 500 years. After holy water and ghee and food, now fruits. अलग अलग भोग भगवान को लगाए जाते हैं। भोग is the meal that Lord eats, and once the Lord eats, now Sri Ram, this vigraha is a living deity. The Lord will eat, the Lord will sleep, the Lord will bless his devotees from this point on. 51 inches tall, this Divya Bhavya Vigraha of Lord Ram, from the lalat to his toes.
दर्शन पूजन तर्पण करेंगे, जटायु दर्शन पुष्पार्चन करेंगे, कार्मिकों से मिलेंगे और प्रस्थान करेंगे। डाक विभाग के अधिकारी उनको पीछे की ओर आ जाना चाहिए, मंच के पीछे।
just as we'd seen or just as we'd heard, Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patit Pavan Sita Ram Sundar Vigraha Megha Sham. That's exactly what this Vigraha looks like. It looks divine. Megha Sham. Sri Ram was dark complexioned or Sham Vard. Ganga Tulsi Shaligram. And that's exactly how he has been worshipped right now, with holy waters, with Tulsi leaves and Shaligram. Now this entire Vidhi, Pran Pratishtha Vidhi is over. This is our Raja Ram. This is Maryada Purushottam Shri Ram, Ram Lala. The Pran Pratishtha has happened. He's a living deity now for all believers. And this is the Naveen Vigraha, or the new idol. The original idol is also there in the Garbhagriha. Both idols are there. So let's just listen into the prayers before we hear the Manor of Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Shri Ram Ram Sharanam Bhava Ram Ram Shri Ramachandra Charano Manasa Smarami Shri Ramachandra Charano Vachasa Gridami Shri Ramachandra Charano Shirisa Namami Shri Ramachandra Charano Sharanam Prapadye माता रामो मत्पिता रामचंद्रः स्वामी रामो मत्सखा रामचंद्रः सर्वस्वं मे रामचंद्रो दयालुर्नान्यं जाने नैव जाने न जाने लोकाभिरामं रणरंगधीरं राजीवनेत्रं रघुवंशनाथं कारुण्यरूपं करुणाकरं तं श्रीरामचन्द्रं शरणं प्रपद्ये। भगवान श्री राम की प्राण प्रतिष्ठा हो चुकी है। दर्शन कीजिए भगवान श्री राम का, जो कि राघव स्वरूप में इस वक्त आपके समक्ष सभी को दर्शन दे रहे हैं। रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीता राम। राघव रूप में मां कौशल्या के राघव, वही नाम जो मां कौशल्या ने उन्हें दिया, उसी राघव को आप इस वक्त 5 वर्ष के बाल रूप में इस वक्त देख रहे हैं। अद्भुत छवि।
निश्चित तौर से और इन्हीं को वर्णित किया गया है कि नवकंज लोचन कंज मुख कर कंज पद कंजारुणम कंदर्प अगणित अमित छवि नवनील नीरद सुंदरम।
And this is how Lord Ram has been described by Goswami Tulsidas. This is how Lord Ram has been described over centuries. And when people say, how do you know? This is how Bharat's civilizational history has been narrated over generations. Shruti and Smriti. Shruti is when you hear it from your parents. Smriti is when you memorize it and then pass it on to your next generation before the written word. And this is why we are the oldest, not just surviving, but flourishing and growing civilization of this entire world. There are several civilizations, but they perished. The Sanatan Sabhyata is growing. It's flourishing. It's because of this Astha. It's because of that Vishwas. And that is what you see on your television screens today. It's that firm belief that Raja Ram is there. It's that firm belief that Yogeshwar Shri Krishna is there. It's that firm belief that Bhagwan Shiv will do justice. And that's that thought that's taken the Sanatan Dharma through every problem that they faced in life. Foreign invasion happened. Not just over decades, but over centuries. Attempts were made to cut us off from our roots. But those roots have survived. When our temples were destroyed, it was a peepal tree where a dhaga was tied but that astha remained strong, that prayer remained steadfast, and that's also been recorded in legal papers where they said Hindus never stopped believing that this is where Raja Ram was born, and this is where the Divya Bhavya Ram temple has finally come for old times to come, for eternity now. I've been privileged to see the construction work that was happening at this Divya Bhavya Ram temple right from the word go. And that's the time when every worker engaged here, whether it was a rickshaw puller who was coming or an engineer from IIT or one of the top directors, all of them had one thought, that their parents had given them that astha, they were passing it on for future generations. That is how this temple has now been built, and this is just the garb. We once again reconnect with our roots when we learn of Raja Ram, when we learn now of Kaushalya Nandan Ram. And what do we learn when we say Kaushalya Nandan Ram? That our mother's name is taken before our name. That Siyavara Ram, that our wife's name is taken before our name. This is the Sanatan civilization. That respect once again comes back into society. That's the effort. That is the Ram Rajya, jiski kalpana ho rahi hai, that is being thought of or envisaged at this point as the prayers happen. And what are these prayers? Bhagwan ko bhog lagaya ja raha hai, kyunki ye ab, this isn't a 3 billion old rock. This rock has our faith, our belief, and pran pratishtha has happened. This for us is a living deity. This for the Sanatan Dharma believers is that living deity in which pran pratishtha has happened. So the Lord is hearing my problems and the Lord will solve my problems. That is the belief. And when I say mine, it means the prayers of the devotees. So the Lord is being given food and water, fruits at this point of time. Holy water from rivers across our country, food from length and breadth of our country. Alag-alag tarah ke bhog lagaye jate hain. So what does a 5-year-old child eat? A 5-year-old child eats milk products, and that's the kind of bhog that is given to Lord Ram right now. This is how much thought that goes into the bhog for Lord Ram. And look at the jewels, the jewelry, the emeralds, the ruby, the gold tilak, the golden bow and arrow, Sri Ram Lala with Navakanja Lochan, and that Navakanja Lochan is, his eyes are like lotus, but not just his eyes, he is like a blossoming lotus flower. And the Prime Minister is praying to his Aradhya Sri Ram. After 11 days of Anushtan, cleansed for this Pavitra Punyakam of installing Ram Lala's Pran Pratishtha Divya Vigraha at the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi temple. And that Sankalp, that Shaligram, that Sankalp that was taken has now been completed. The living deity there for all times to come, for eternity. Kalava or Roli being tied on the Prime Minister's wrist. What does this signify? This is that holy thread to remind you of a resolve that you've taken at all times. That Kalava, that Roli, that sacred thread reminds you of the work that you are to fulfill, to take your task forward, to build that Ram Rajya. That is the Sankalp the Prime Minister has taken. Remember at the time of G20, the Prime Minister spoke of Ayam Nij Paroveti Garna Laghu Chetasam Udar Charitanam Tu Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole world is one family. What is yours, what is mine is the thought of someone who doesn't have a big thinking, greater thinking, and a thinking that you've arrived. Somebody who is of a generous nature. For him, the world is one family. The Prime Minister is now, as the Yajman, you see, it is the Yajman's duty to give Dakshina to the Purohit who've carried out the Prarthana. That is how Dharma is taken forward. The Yajman is chosen because he's Samarth, because he's capable, and it is his duty to give Dakshina. It is not Dan, it is Dakshina, it is Paritoshak, it is because they have performed the task of bringing you closer to the Almighty, and now the parikrama of Sri Ram's idol or the Vigraha, Divya Vigraha is happening right now. A pledge to follow in the path of Sri Ram. Dakshina given to the Purohit because the Purohit will carry this tradition forward to the next generation. These are live images that you're seeing from the Garbhagriha of the Ram Mandir, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi Sashtang Dandavat Pranam. The RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat standing next to him, but this is Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Sashtang Dandavat Pranam to Lord Ram. The Prime Minister was here as a Karyakarta of the Bharatiya Janata Party. He was here when Kar Seva was happening. He was the Sutradhar of that Rath Yatra, and the Prime Minister that time took a pledge, will return when that Divya Bhavya Ram temple is built, and that Divya Bhavya Ram temple has now been built. The Prime Minister now being given coconut, again considered very holy. Mohan Bhagwat, the RSS chief, also seen in the images. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. Prasad being given to Bhog, which is first given to the Lord, and then Prasad to the Yajman who are right now in the Garbhagriha. And these are mouth-watering besan and desi ghee laddus. There are various kinds of prasads. Mahant Nritya Gopal Das. Apart from that, you have Satyendra Das, the chief Purohit of the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi temple. He's been with Ram Lala for the past 3 decades plus and counting. That Prarthana is now over. Prime Minister Narendra Modi now comes out of the Garbhagriha. He's coming out to the Gur Mandap, then the Rang Mandap, and then the Nritya Mandap. There are 5 mandaps here that have been built. Nritya Mandap is the first mandap, and you're looking at the spellbinding, truly divine architecture at the Ram Mandir. The Prime Minister once again prays and bows to Sri Ram as he steps out of the temple. An Angvastram is now being presented to Prime Minister Narendra Modi by the saints, seers and sages. He's finally done what they hoped would happen for decades and decades and decades. And the 3 images that you see on your television screen right now, a ring being presented to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. You see Ram Lala and you see the devotees outside. All were given bells. The Deputy Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Keshav Prasad Maurya singing, and More Ram Lala